Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Jay and welcome back to Stellwagen Farms. We're coming up on spring and a lot of people are ordering seeds online and they're getting them from their big box stores or local hometown seed sellers. So I have a seed packet here. This is from Seed Savers Exchange for early Jersey Wakefield cabbage. And on the back, and most seed packets have instructions on the back about when and how to grow the seeds. So it says start indoors 6 weeks before the last frost date. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to determine when that last frost date is so you know when to get your seeds started indoors to have a productive harvest. Let's get started. Okay, so I'm here on the NOAA's website, and the NOAA does a lot of work. They're commissioned by the Department of Commerce to establish and record the climatic conditions of the United States. And there are over 9,800 weather sites across the United States that are daily recording data for use in research and aviation and disaster preparedness and all kinds of other areas. So as you can see here, when I click on this, we got weather, climate, oceans and coast, fisheries, satellites, research, marine and aviation. So lots of different categories. What we really care about to determine our last frost date is the climate section. Now there's a subdivision within the climate department for the National Center for Environmental Information, which is essentially the division that archives and performs the statistical analysis on all this data that's coming in from the all the weather stations across the United States. So we're here on climate, and then we scroll down and we simply want to go to NCEI's website, and here's their homepage. You can learn about them, but essentially we want to take a look at what products they have to offer. Now you can get to the climate normals section in a lot of different ways, but really the first one, they got a list of product categories here, and it lists air temperature and atmospheric properties. So that sounds about what we want to find, and in this subsection there's a lot of information here. So which one do I choose? Now, one of the things that makes finding your last freeze date confusing is that the NOAA and the NCEI don't really have a lot of places that say freeze date. They refer to it statistically in what's called a normal, which is very simply a 30-year average of all the data that this station or any station really across the United States is collecting. Now what they do to determine the freeze date is they take the high and the low temperature and they perform some statistical smoothing of that data, and then they spit out some documents related to the freeze date. So let's jump back in and I'll show you how to get that data. So under air temperature and atmospheric properties, we want to go to climate normals, and like I said, a climate normal is simply a 30-year average. The last average that the NOAA has published is from 1981 to 2010. Click on that, and there's some resources down at the bottom about what is a normal and where you get it from and all that kind of stuff. I like to use the interactive map here, and simply so you can go to daily observations, monthly, lots of precipitation data, radar, but we want to use this normals data set down here at the bottom. This is going to load up, and you can see it already shows you a picture of all the weather stations across the United States. We don't really want to see daily climate normals. We want to see the annual climate normals, and you'll notice throughout the length of when I've been clicking through all these websites, it still hasn't said anything about freeze date, find your last freeze date, or anything like that, because the NOAA, the way they talk about it is in the terms of a normal. So one of the things, now here's where the website gets a little bit confusing, and the key to success here is you want to click on this little wrench icon, which will help you. You can define your search in a lot of different ways. So if you just click on, say for example, location here, I'll show you all the weather stations in the state of South Carolina where I live. So and then I just select my state, scroll down to South Carolina, zoom to location, and you can very easily see now there are 120 weather stations across the state of South Carolina. Now obviously the weather in the upstate of South Carolina is going to be different from the weather along the coastal region around Charleston and stuff like that, Myrtle Beach. So we don't want to really compare the data from all these different situations. So I'm going to clear the results and get a little bit more refined here with my search. So I'm just gonna, you can type in your zip code, you can type in, I'm just gonna type in Camden, South Carolina, where I'm from. And you can see it zooms to the center of Camden. Now, if I scroll out a little bit, you can see I have this weather station, but one of the confusing things about the NOAA's website is you can't immediately click on this weather station like most websites that are hyperlinked will let you to do. So what you need to do is click on this identify icon up here, and now you can see it says click on a feature on the map to identify. When I click on this red dot, it shows me the weather station and it highlights it in a little yellow square. Now when I click on view station details, that's going to open a separate tab, and it's going to take me to the NOAA's basically description page for this website. If I scroll down a little bit, there's a section called view station data. I'm just going to click select year. There's only one year in here. I'm guessing that's because they're only showing the 1981 to 2010 normal data set, which is fine. I click view data, and then it's going to open up this PDF of the summary of annual normals. Okay, so what are we looking at on this page? We got some generic description of what this page is telling us. U.S. Department of Commerce, NOAA. It's got the current elevation of the station, where it is, so going through the headers here, freeze data, spring freeze dates. Okay, so now here's the first place where it's really talking about stuff that we want to know, going back to the instructions on the back of my cabbage pack, where basically I want to figure out when to start my seeds indoors. So if you remember, this says start indoors 6 to 8 weeks before the last frost. Okay, so going back to this PDF here, and you can download this PDF, you can export it, and you can do a lot of data mining in Excel, depending on how good you are with database programs. But so this next header down, probability of a later date in spring than indicated, and we got 0.10 to 0.90. So really, if you multiply those numbers by 100, they're going to give you percentages. So a 10% chance, a 20% chance, on up to a 90% chance. Going down here to the 32 degrees, which is obviously freezing for Fahrenheit. It says after April 19th, there is a 10% chance of a freeze event in Camden. Okay, so 10% chance. I don't know why they don't go all the way down to 0. Maybe it's because they don't want to get sued if there's some sort of a freak snowstorm after April 19th and they published all this data that said there's a 0% chance. And so what this means then, as someone who's planting you're planting your seeds for the spring, is really you can take risk. You can you want to play it a little bit more conservative. You can plant after the 10% date, or if you want to be a little bit more risky, you can plant it after the 90% date. So if we jump back into the spreadsheet, you can see pretty much after March 18th is when there's a 90% chance. So you could win in that 10%, or there's most likely you're gonna have a freeze event and all your plants outside are gonna get killed. The next section down is pretty much the same, only in reverse. So it talks about the fall freeze dates and then the probability of a fall freeze event. So looking at the 10% freeze section here at 32 degrees. So at October 20th, after that day, there's a 10% chance that you're going to have a freeze event. So as we go up to 90%, you can see that the times get later and later in the year. So just before Thanksgiving, there's a 90% chance that there's going to be a freeze event. So if you take those two dates and compare them, November 23rd all the way to April 19th is really when there's a high chance of a high chance of a freeze event in between those two dates. Okay, so if you Google what is my freeze date, you might get something either from Dave's Garden or this link, that the second link that popped up was from Farmer's Almanac, and you can very clearly see here they give me the date, the April 10th date, which matches the 30% freeze normal data that I just walked you through how to find on the NOAA's website. And then they just tell you, hey, this was calculated from the 1981 to 2010 normal data. Okay, everybody, thanks for watching this video. I hope you find this information useful. Again, a lot of people are starting their seeds right now, getting out in their garages or greenhouses, and wondering when to be successful. Again, so just get on the website, plug in your area. There's a lot of different ways that you can pull data from that NOAA website. You can pull the 10 closest stations next to you, next to where you are. Shoot me an email, leave a link down below in the comments if you can't find the information you look for, and I'll do my best to reach out and help you. But that's all I got for today. Thanks.